Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, I'm going to be bringing you an update for this upcoming major blizzard. We now have blizzard warnings in place for multiple regions, so I'll be showing you guys that. We have a lot to talk about in today's video, but before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. Today's comment of the day is a hotly debated one. What is the most comfortable indoor temperature? And I will be picking the first person to comment what I'm thinking is my most comfortable temperature. So if we agree, I will be featuring you in tomorrow's video. So go ahead. It's a very hotly debated one, but please comment down below what you think the most comfortable indoor temperature is. Let's get right into things. So we can see this is our current warnings, watches, and advisories. And you can see up there for Wyoming and Nebraska are the only two states we have blizzard warnings as of right now. The blizzard warnings can be found in those orange counties there. And then we also have the purplish ones that are just to the west of our orange regions. And that's where we have winter weather advisories. There's even a pink one in there. I think that's two different counties. That's where we have winter storm warning. And then to the east of our blizzard warnings, we have winter storm watches up for portions of Nebraska and South Dakota. All of those warnings, watches, and advisories will be expanding over the next few days as we're getting closer and closer to this major winter storm and blizzard that is coming up around Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday time frame. Alright, now we're about to move on. We're going to start looking at that simulated radar. Things have changed a little bit. We've seen a trend in a southerly direction, so stay tuned to see what the differences are here on the model so far as we head into today, which is March 17th. Alright, so we're going to be using our GFS model once again, but just like I did yesterday, I'm going to be showing you guys our Canadian model after this one, just to get two differing opinions. And on our snowfall maps, I'll be showing you the GFS, the Canadian, and also the European. So we'll get the model of all three of the most major used models here. So we're starting things out. This is going to be Wednesday at about 2 a.m. On March 18th. And you can see that we do have a low pressure system located somewhere in between Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. They're pretty broad, pretty weak. Nothing happening really as far as snowfall around our low pressure system yet. It does we head towards later that night. This is going to be about 8 p.m. on the same day. We start to see a lot of precipitation build in for California, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming. All of these areas seeing a lot of green, and then for high elevation areas seeing the snow, which can be seen in the blue. So this is an area where we're starting to see our low pressure system build, and it's really causing a lot of precipitation already, but it isn't even nearly as strong as it's going to end up being yet. It's going to stay kind of stationary for a little bit here near Colorado, and it's going to really intensify. And then in a couple frames, that's when we're going to start to see our real blizzard conditions start up here for portions of the Midwest and the Rockies. Now we're about to move on to that, where we're going to start to see first off, the low pressure system intensify, and then we're going to start to see the blizzard conditions begin. Alright, so here we are, and this one's going to be by about 8 a.m. on Thursday morning, so we've kind of gone about 12 hours in the future here. And we can see our low pressure system is still hanging out around eastern Colorado, and we do see a lot more blues showing up. We're getting more cold air involved, so we're getting more and more snow here, mostly for New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming at this point. Remember, in between Wyoming and Nebraska is where we're expecting the most blizzard conditions at this point, or the most likely area to see blizzard conditions. So we're going to need to watch that area very closely. But for now, Colorado, New Mexico, and Wyoming are getting heavy snowfall, and probably already some accumulating snowfall very, very quickly here. So let's move on, and this is when we're going to start to see our blizzard conditions start up. We're seeing our low pressure system intensify even more. It's a 992 millibar low pressure system in between Colorado and Kansas, and we're seeing moderate to heavy snowfall pretty much throughout New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, and then even up through South Dakota at this point. Mostly moderate snowfall there for Nebraska and South Dakota at this point. The heaviest of the snow is located there in the Rockies, I would say in between Wyoming and Colorado at this point, and that one's going to be by about 2 p.m. on Thursday. Let's go ahead and move on one more frame, and this one's going to be by about 8 p.m. the same day, so Thursday, March 19th. And you can see that our low pressure system has, well, it's weakened a little bit. It's a 997 millibar low pressure system, but it's located over central Kansas at this point. So what's happened is most of our heaviest snowfall has moved out of Wyoming and mostly in between Colorado and Nebraska, South Dakota, and even up through Minnesota at this point. So we're seeing it really broaden out. We're seeing snowfall for a lot of regions here. Very, very interesting stuff. Now we're about to move on. There's a few more frames left still for us to look at here to see what our storm is going to do. And then we're also going to take a look at some of that wind, so we can see where the blizzard conditions are actually going to set up, because obviously we need very heavy winds for blizzard conditions. And then we're going to take a look at that total snowfall there at the end. Alright, so here we are, and you can see our low pressure system is completely transferred. This is only a few hours later. This is at about 2 a.m. on Friday, March 20th, and our low pressure system is all the way up in Michigan by this point. They're showing, both of the models I'm going to be showing you today are showing a transfer basically from somewhere around Kansas all the way up to Michigan in a matter of about 6 hours. So a very quick transition, and this is what's really going to save us from seeing a ton of snowfall. Otherwise, I think we'd be seeing widespread 1 to 2 feet, maybe even 3 feet in some spots for Colorado, Wyoming, Nebraska, Iowa, South Dakota, Minnesota. But that transfer really speeds things up, and it's gonna give us less time with heavy snowfall. Really, the only area that's going to see a long time with snowfall is going to be Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado there. But areas in between aren't really going to see it as much as expected originally. We see lighter snow showers going on for Colorado and Nebraska still. The moderate snow is now for Iowa, southern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, and some of the northern peninsula by this point. And as we move on, you can see it's basically all said and done by about morning time on Friday, March 20th, as we see some light snowfall going on for portions of Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the Upper Peninsula. But really, it's all said and done as far as accumulating snowfall. Let's go ahead and take a look at that Canadian model like I said I was going to do. And it's basically the same story. Here we are at about 2 a.m. on Thursday, March 19th. And we can see that the low pressure system is kind of lingering for eastern Colorado. And then by the time we reach about the afternoon hours of Thursday, we see the blizzard conditions for Wyoming, Colorado, and Nebraska. And then we see it really move into Nebraska and South Dakota. This model kind of extends the heavier snowfall into Nebraska a little bit more here as we move on. This is about 8 p.m. on Thursday, and then we see the transfer by the time we're at Friday morning. So basically the same story as the GFS. Pretty good agreement here. I'm happy to see that the models are kind of in agreement here with what's going on with the snowfall, at least the precipitation map here. We're going to take a look at that wind in a second, and also the total snowfall, which is probably what you guys are waiting for, and then we'll get into our comment of the day in just a second. Alright, so as you can see here, this is our wind on the GFS model, and those yellows is where we're seeing a lot of the, I would say 30 to maybe even 40 knot winds, and this is in one of our heaviest snowfall frames. This is when we're seeing a lot of heavy snow for northeastern Colorado, southeastern Wyoming, and then in through Nebraska. And you can see we have plenty of yellows for most of these areas, and greens. Greens is 20 to 30 knot winds, which is already, very, very blustery to say the least. The yellows is definitely where we're going to be seeing blizzard conditions here. And then here's that Canadian model, a little bit more intense with the yellows. So I think the Canadian model thinks there'll be a little bit more wind than what the GFS is showing. But nevertheless, they're both showing a ton of wind, definitely sufficient for blizzard conditions. The heavy snow is there, so we are expecting pretty widespread blizzard conditions here during this major, major blizzard and major, major winter storm. So let's take a look at that total snowfall now. This is the GFS model. The GFS model is a little bit more high resolution, so it's a little bit harder to see, but we definitely have pretty widespread lighter blues, and that's where we're pretty much at 2 to 3 inches of snow. In the purples, that's where we're at 3 to 6 inches of snow, and then the pinks is anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of snow. And we see those greens in some spots there for Wyoming, Nebraska, and Colorado, even a little bit of New Mexico and Arizona there as well. That's all of the areas where we're expecting 1 to 2 feet of snow, mostly for high elevation areas, and where we're expecting our heaviest snow and blizzard conditions. So let's go ahead and move on to the Canadian model, and same story here. Nebraska, Wyoming, and Colorado getting most of the greens where we're expecting our heaviest snow and most blizzard conditions. And then again, that's where we're expecting 12 to 24 inches of snow. Now let's move on to our European model. And we see that in the blues, that's where we're expecting 2 to 6 inches of snow. The grays is anything below 2 inches of snow. Purple, we're expecting 6 to even 9 inches of snow. Pinks is 9 to 18 inches of snow. And then in that kind of very light turquoise color. That's where we're expecting maybe 20 to even 30 inches of snow here for in between Colorado and Wyoming and even southern Colorado there. So definitely this model is thinking a lot more snowfall for the mountains there in the Rockies. So we'll have to see in the coming days what the models are thinking with the total snowfall. They definitely have some major disagreement. I'm expecting tomorrow and the next day I'll be coming out with actual snowfall maps that I make. So we'll get a lot more information here on direct weather over the next couple of days for this storm. Now, today's comment of the day comes from Mike Carver. And my question was, what is your favorite type of weather? He said, what's my favorite type of weather? Snow, 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 and more snow. And that's definitely how I feel. And I know maybe a lot of you feel that way as well. Do you agree with Mike Carver? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. And I will see you guys in the next video.